Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Ia Patsy, and I wanted to share something with you that I've spoken about many times with my clients, the ones who are going through separation with their partners for whatever reasons. And I try to remind them that there have been couples, relationships for centuries where people weren't able to make contact with their loved ones, or they had to do it by means that were really, really slow, like telegraph or telephone. No, not telephone, telegraph. Well, telephone too, long distance. You couldn't just pick up the phone and call somebody. You might not have had a phone in your home. You had to use a neighbor's phone. It was expensive if the person, they used to charge you like per minute to make a phone call. And if it was out of the state, it was even extra. It was a treat to be able to speak to someone who lived in another city or state sometimes back in the day. And before they had telephones, you're waiting for the Pony Express to bring letters back and forth. And before that, when we were enslaved, people fell in love. How could they keep in contact if someone was sold to another plantation owner or things like that, separated? There was no way to communicate. That's why families lost touch with each other. So it's the same thing in the sense when you're in separation from your twin, right? So imagine twin flame thing has been going on for centuries. So imagine how those people felt and suffered. And I always point out many times how we don't know how many people went to the madhouse or even committed suicide because of being in separation from their twin flame, from their soulmate. And there's two dolphins in front of me on my screen at 11:09 as I'm saying this to you. So it must be important to know. So I came across this book years ago, and as I was getting ready to continue the childhood inner child readings for the feminine child, I came across this book, and it's called A Love No Less by Pamela Newkirk. And it's a collection of more than 2 centuries of African-American love letters. And these were letters that were sent. Oh, don't do that. This is a very precarious setup over here, miss. Gosh. Letters between lovers from back in the day. Okay. And some of them were from slaves even that they were able to recover. And they were reproduced here in this book, A Love No Less. And I wanted to just share a couple of them with you all. And maybe you can understand or see how blessed we are right now. Even though we may not be in contact. We do have email, we do have text messaging, we do have YouTube, we do have videos, all kinds of ways. Friends of a friends of a friends or whatever. Take a car, run, take a drive. There are ways to contact that person, even if you choose not to, if the other person chooses not to. 11:11 as I'm looking at the clock, at the TV, and the 2 dolphins are there still. Yeah, so let's just take a look at some of these letters. This is from Abraham Scriven to Diane Jones. And it's September 19th, 1858. And this is from a special collection from Tulane University. My dear wife, I take the pleasure of writing you these few with much regret to inform you that I am sold to a man by the name of Peterson, a trader, and stays in New Orleans. I am here yet, but I expect to go long before But when I get there, I will write you and let you know where I am, my dear. I want to send you some things, but I do not know who to send them by. But I will try to get them to you and my children. Give love to my father and mother and tell them goodbye for me. And if we shall not meet in this world, I hope to meet in heaven. My dear wife, for you and my children, my pen cannot express the grief I feel to be parted from you all. I remain your truly husband until death. Abraham Scriven. The next letter is from Anne, a Missouri slave, to Andrew Valentine, her soldier husband, on January 19th, 1864, from Paris, Missouri. My dear husband, I received your letter dated January 9th, also one dated January 1st, but I have got no one till now to write for me. You do not know how bad I am treated. They're treating me worse and worse every day. Our child cries for you. Send some money as soon as you can for me and my child are almost naked. My cloth is yet on the loom and there's no telling when it will be out. Do not send any letters to Hogsett, especially those having money in them, as Hogsett will keep the money. George Combs went to Hannibal soon after you did, so I did not get that money from him. Do the best you can, and do not fret much for me. It won't be long before I will be free, and then all we make will be ours. Your affectionate wife, Anne. P.S. Send our little girl a string of beads in your next letter to remember you by, Anne. See the importance of beads back then? They were remembrances. They were a way that you could remember someone and keep it with you when they were gone. Slaves didn't have money for rings and things like that, so they made things. And sometimes they couldn't keep dolls and things like that. So if they had beads, they could, attach it to their arm or their ankle and feel close to the person that they were missing. John Boston to his wife Elizabeth, January 12th, 1862. And this is part of the National Archives. My dear wife, it is with great joy I take this time to let you know where I am now, in safety, in the 14th Regiment of Brooklyn. This day, I can address you, thank God, as a free man. I had a little trouble in getting away, but as the Lord led the children of Israel to the land of Canaan, so he led me to a land where freedom will reign in spite of earth and hell. Dear, you must make yourself content. I am free from the slaver's lash, and as you have chose the wise plan of serving the Lord, I hope you will pray much, and I will try, by the help of God, to serve him with all my heart. I am a very nice man, and have all that heart can wish. But my dear, I can't express my great desire that I have you see me, that I have to see you. Trust the time will come when we shall meet again. And if we don't meet on earth, we will meet in heaven where Jesus reigns, dear Elizabeth. Tell Mrs. Owen that I trust that she will continue her kindness to you and that God will bless her on earth and save her in great eternity. My compliments, I guess he's writing compliments. This is written in broken English, and there are no periods, and, it has not been edited, so that's why I'm having a really a little bit of time here. My compliments to Miss Owens and her children. May they prosper through life. I never shall forget her kindness to me, dear wife. I must close. Rest yourself, contented. I am free. I want you to write to me soon as you can without delay. Direct your letter to the 14th Regiment New York State Militia, Upton's Hill, Virginia, in care of Mr. Cranford. M. Cranford. Okay? So that was John Boston to his wife, Elizabeth. Now, this is a series of letters between Niecy Moore and Harvey. And I think, is there pictures of them here? No, that's Paul Laurence Dunbar. Yeah, there are all kinds of letters that from different times in American history. Now, this is a series of letters between Niecy Moore of Ohio and Harvey, with whom she speaks of in their impending wedding. So they're engaged, and they were written in 1869 and 1870s. And they talk about how they stole each other's hearts. So September 14th, 1869. Dear Harvey, I am well at present, and hope these few lines may find you the same. There is something that compels me to write. Yes, something I have tried to keep which I cannot retain any longer. That is love. Yes, I love you. You have stolen my heart. Now I know that I've treated you wrong. I know that if you was to treat me now like I did you, my heart would almost break. I would even receive letters from you and not answer them for a long time, and sometimes not at all. But I knew that you were tender-hearted and would forgive me for so doing. I am, as ever, Niecy. And October 26th, 1869, Dear Niecy, your kind and affectionate letter of September 14th was received with much pleasure, was read and reviewed more than once. I hope you will not be mad at me for my neglect. Pardon me if it be an offense. I would not knowingly wound your heart. How could I think that one whom I so ardently love, when I read poems with all that ameliorating influence to my mind, considering in you only? I cannot respond. I'm not adequate to talk. I am not adequate to the task. Like 2 drops of water, these sentiments run together. My heart has been stolen. I believe it's you that has it in possession. Would you be willing to give me yours in return, or would you refuse or persist in refusing to speak on this most solemn subject, the subject of matrimony? I have no doubt you will censure me of forcing this question. I hope you will forgive me. You know that I'm weak-minded, and you say I'm tender-hearted, but I don't think so. I fault myself for being hard-hearted and always ready to return evil for evil, but I need not inform you. You know too much about me already. Although, if I had not such implicit confidence, I would not divulge the secret emotions of my heart with such freedom. I must bid you good night, and happy dreams attend you. I will be your most devoted Harvey. So Harvey trusted Niecy with his secrets. December 20th, 1869. Ooh, okay, so that's a couple of months later. Dear Niecy, I do not know why I cannot cease to think of you and to love you. I say I have stolen your heart, and I can say this much: you stole mine first, and a fair exchange is no robbery. So I will present you my heart and hand to accompany it, provided you'll accept of them in return for me, the one that was stolen from you. Goodbye as ever, Harvey. June 18th, 1869. Dear Niecy, I read the contents of your welcome epistle with unceasing pleasure. So there was a letter that she must have read him, and they don't have it here. That little sentence, whatever pleases you will please me, would fill a volume in detail. Those trusting, endearing, faithful words cling in my heart. Entwined there like the vine with its tendrils to the verdant oak of the forest. I hope you will never regret putting your trust in my charge, but there is one point I have never regretted since this subject has been agitated. That is, I regret that I am not prepared to treat you as I would. My limited circumstances prevent me from acting out my feelings to some extent. I remain as ever, H. Moore. P.S. I have enclosed you an emblem as a token of my love for thee, a ring which has no end in remembrance of me. Wear these, if you will accept. July 1870. It's a year later. Dear Niecy, I have read and reread your kind and affectionate letters. The sentiments therein contained have lifted the veil that seems to encircle my heart. I will fear no more. As love to love meet with that agreeable affinity of purpose, and each mind is suited to its proper magnet, then do not say, I have not confidence, when I love you superior to all others, and retain the strictest confidence in you as a lady. Those marks of true modesty and virtue, and your good sense have won my heart, so I am often thinking of you. Please say whether you will return the present or not. Please say something. Now I must stop. Excuse all blunders and mistakes and allow me to present my compliments as ever. Write soon. P.S. My soul's place has become a person through which the rays of those found eyes dart thrillingly. Then varied light, full as bed and radiant, paints up the dark and chambers of my soul. And this thou art to me, a brilliant vision. So, he was having visions of her in his dreams, and he trusted her to remain a lady. He sent her the ring, not knowing whether or not she would even accept it. And if, back in the day, if she didn't want the ring, she would send it back. Now things are different. But that's how you knew whether or not someone accepted your engagement, was whether or not they kept the ring and wrote you back, right? So he's still waiting for her to write him back. That's the end of that series of letters. These letters here are from Paul Lawrence Dunbar and Alice Ruth Moore. Paul Lawrence Dunbar was a prominent African-American literary figure. And that's him. And that's his wife. Alice Ruth Moore. And these are only 2 years worth of letters. And they are at the Schomburg Museum in Manhattan, if you want to go see them. Lots of his work is there. So he fell in love with her in 1895 on October 13th. He wrote that he fell in love with her after seeing the picture that accompanied her article in the Monthly Review. She was a writer also. I know it seems foolish, and you will laugh perhaps, or perhaps grow angry, but I can explain in one sentence. You were the sudden realization of an ideal. Isn't there some hope for me? I wish you could read my heart. I love you. I love you. I love you. You bring out all the best that is in me. You are an inspiration to me. I am better and purer for having touched hands with you over all these miles. In another letter, he apologized for his outburst of emotion. Dear Miss Moore, he wrote, with saner thought, I have become convinced that my last letter to you proved me a most consummate donkey. I am sorry that I have no more sense than to take such an advantage of the consideration that you have shown me. I feel sure that I've offended you and dread your answer. I know that my letter will rank ill-considered and presumptuous, and I grieve that it should be so. For the feelings it expressed, I have no wish to apologize. I can't help them. I'm not ashamed of them, and I wouldn't change them if I could. And on February 5th, 1897, Paul and Alice met, 2 years after beginning their correspondence. That evening at a party in New York, in Dunbar's honor, they were secretly engaged. The next day, Dunbar set sail for a 6-month reading tour in Europe, and they were finally married in New York on March 6th, 1898. To Alice from Paul. My dear little girl, your letter has been received, and these lines leave me heartbroken. Darling, I love you. I don't want to marry you for your brain and culture. They are the easiest things in the world to find. I want you for the qualities of heart which I know you possess. Darling, all my dreams of the future hold you. I feel I could be happy to go through life at your side, but without you, I don't want to think of it. I want you to think of me, darling, as your protector, even more than your lover. I know that I wish to shield you from all of the severities of life and take you into the warm shelter of my heart. On May 16th, 1898. So that letter was in October of 1896, and this is in May of 1898. My dear little wife, here I am all safe and sound, and would say happy if you were near me. Booker T, Washington, arrives tonight and speaks. I just got in some time to hear Du Bois papers, so that's W.E.B. Du Bois's papers. It was a fairly sophisticated article. I am being and shall continue to be a good boy. It's a shame they don't want me to stay for the banquet. I am anxious to see little wife and to be home again in our own cozy nest. Beautiful. So, folks, I just wanted to share some of these letters with you so that you can see that other people have gone through these same struggles. And time for me to go. And I will talk to you all real soon. Peace, Ashe. Namaste.